Welcome to Talmudic Treasures. Today we're learning Yevamot page 89, which discusses the concept that when the Torah itself has a specific law, whether or not the rabbis can come and, so to speak, uproot that law and change it in order to be able to have a particular outcome. And it's already discussed, for example, when it comes to the laws of inheritance, that the rabbis have certain authority to be able to do that, even if, according to Torah law, certain monies should be allocated to a particular individual. However, there's a concept called hefker betin hefker, that the court system has authority when it comes to monetary law to be able to transfer funds from one person to the next if they so feel that it is the proper decision to do so. And the question is when it comes to becoming impure. We know that a Kohen is not allowed to just simply become impure by coming in contact with a dead body. Now, there are 7 exceptions. If one of his close relatives dies, namely if it's his parents, siblings, children, or spouse, he may become impure. The question is, when it comes to one spouse, when does that rule apply? Now, there is a Torah-based marriage when a girl has shown signs of physical maturity and she herself is able to get married because she's already older. However, in the times of the Talmud, it was not uncommon for a girl to potentially get married even by the age before she was 12. And therefore, in the event that, let's say, her father is not alive and her siblings who are alive are part of the wedding, this is actually not a Torah-based wedding. It's only when you have the father, this parent, to marry her off when she is still a katana, still a minor. Now, because it's a rabbinic marriage, one would imagine that if his wife would die at that time, she, unfortunately, as she died, for him, he would not be able to become impure by engaging in the process of the burial. However, over here the Talmud says, even though technically he should not be allowed to become impure, according to the Torah, because they're not really biblically married, nonetheless we say that we will allow him to become impure. And the question is why? Why would the rabbis allow this? Because after all, according to the Torah, he should not be allowed to become impure. And on this, the Talmud says something fascinating. There's a concept called a mate mitzvah. One of the greatest mitzvot that a person could perform is caring for the dead, especially if that person who died has no relatives or has no one to care for their remains. For you to step up and to be able to help out in that situation where no one else is doing so is a tremendous, tremendous act of kindness. And therefore the Talmud here says, because she does not have a father, we could understand that the husband really is the next person in line to be able to be engaged in her burial process. So the Torah, even though it says he could not become impure, we find the great sensitivity the rabbis have to say that we will require the Kohen and allow him to be engaged in this process in order to be able to help out when it comes to this person who had died. So again, very often we find in the Torah that there may be certain laws, and the rabbis come in and they say, how are we able to be sensitive to the individuals that are involved to be able to make sure that they will be taken care of properly?